We are back and ready for another week in paradise. I'm feeling a little bit run down, but I'm off this week on my annual planning retreat to get all of our budgets and strategic vision map laid out on my own, locked away in silence, notepad and pen, spreadsheet in hand, ready to deliver to the rest of the team over the next few weeks. We've got new equipment coming in, we've got new Tassie waste little concepts we're trialing, and it's all systems go. Let's go.
On the refunds, obviously we know as a general collective why the refunds the last month or so have shot up. All I'd say is my only comment on it would be, let's just try, and I'm not saying we're not doing this, but just even on the days when you feel a bit, because I'm like it, when you're like, oh, just try and think when it's like, don't have that mentality of like, that's not my job. Let's just try and sort of be a good neighbour, what I would call it. You know, we all have our personal responsibility, and some of us do need to get better at taking personal responsibility for doing our own admin and our own role spot on and get better at that. But then also let's understand and be empathetic. It's like the kid in the classroom that you'd go, oh, I feel sorry for them. If somebody is clearly not great with a certain skill set, Charlotte won't mind me picking on her. You know, she's clearly not good at admin. There's lots of people who've got other problems, and they're obviously, we collectively as management trying to work on that. But let's try and be a good neighbour, and when you know someone's a bit, try and do what you'd like someone to do for you, and sort of look out for them and be a good little, you know, sidekick and go, have you done your address? Have you done your QC? Those sorts of things, because I think if we just do that, we all win as a collective. It's too easy to let someone fall away in the corner, but actually we all suffer as a result of that. It isn't just that one person. So I think that's just important, that we're all human, and we all just try and help each other to try and ultimately prevent those refunds.
It is fresh again this morning. I really need to invest in some thicker jackets, but do like a nice body warmer. We are just checking out. We've been doing some photo shots earlier for our new little service offering that we're introducing on the waste side. Nothing unique, nothing new. Plenty of people do it, but a big barrier we've had with the load and go waste removal service has been with a lot of the builders is that they do want a place neat and tidy on site to put their waste. So we started off by doing it for plasterboard. So this is an example of a 1 yard bag, otherwise commonly known as a ton bag of plasterboard only. So we've got a lot of sites, a lot of builders that will call us, and we've got a fixed rate on just picking up a 1 yard ton bag of plasterboard. We load it, we go. And the beauty of it is some people, the site is capable of just piling it up and waiting until there's a full load, and then we'll send the truck in and we'll fill the full 14 yards. But for a lot of people, there's dribs and drabs throughout the week on a smaller job. For example, a bathroom rip out or a new kitchen. It's just general scraps. And so a mixed waste or just a plasterboard only or a green waste only 1 yard small bag is actually proving really useful for both homeowners for a small clear out, but also all the way through to trades where they can keep these bags that we've had made, put on the van and just whip them out as and when, send us the location in Norfolk where they've filled it, send us a photo, and we book the collection in. The team come round on their route, collect it, take it away, send the bill. So it works quite well. We've just introduced these. We've tried to get them as on brand as possible, but without committing too much money to getting them made until we know that they're really taking off. So we got them a little bit on brand where they're white, but with the orange trims, which is obviously helping. But the longer term goal is on the next batch, we're actually going to get them branded up with the Tassie waste on there, just so if you drive past and you see them on driveways, on building sites, they just create that little bit more of a buzz. And then we are looking to invest in bigger size bags, what we would probably call like a bath bag. So if you were doing a full bathroom strip out, you could get the bath in there, the toilet, the base and all that sort of stuff, and all the tiles and the rubbish that comes out. And they're just really good for kitchen fitters, plumbers, that sort of stuff, boarders, people who get a lot of plasterboard on a site but aren't allowed to put that mixed in with their main rubble skip and that sort of stuff. These kinds of things are perfect. So yeah, just checking it out. We've done some photographs of it this morning for the website, mocking that up, and yeah, just testing it. And now we've got to actually get shot of this and tip it and get it gone. So yeah, excited to see how they go. I just think it'd be nice to have that entry-level service. It'll be our cheapest service that we offer, and then for that smaller end of the market, and then hopefully those small ends will eventually compound into the bigger jobs like full clearances and full load services. So yeah, that is what we're doing. This morning I am putting together a couple of email templates, sort of A, B and C testing almost, for us on the Tassie Way side of things, on how we're reaching out to people. So we're trying to contact at the moment quite heavily on kitchen fitters and plumbers, because what we've found is with the new skip bag service, that's kind of an ideal solution where they don't always need tons and tons taken away, but if they're doing a small residential bathroom strip out or a kitchen and they're pulling the old one out, having sort of some of those effectively ton bags on the van that they can just fill up with all of the stuff that gets stripped out, leave on the driveway and then call us when they're ready for us to load and go, makes a big difference. So I've got a bit of a database of local kitchen fitters and bathroom plumbers, all that sort of stuff that we'd like to partner with, and we just got to sort of get through to them and show them the cost difference and the ease of using a load and go service. But what we're doing is just experimenting with, especially when you reach out to tradespeople, the way they sort of respond to emails, what draws them in is very different to certain other demographics. Say, for example, emailing marketing managers on the totally branded side of things. So I'm just experimenting with some different templates. I'm trying to get a bit better at copywriting and what the subject lines of the emails are. So we are just doing sort of 2 or 3 different email templates that Kelly can use, that we can then send when we blast out to the different databases that we've got, just to try and hook them in to open an initial conversation, so that we can sort of show them the benefit, the cost benefit analysis, but also the ease for the customer. And so yeah, we're just typing that up into a Word doc, share it over to Kelly, and then we will see what the responses come back like. It's very interesting when you do a variety of different subject lines and different wordings. You're saying the same thing, but just in a different way, and the responses can be very different based on that, just by getting into people's brains as to what is going to resonate with that person that you're contacting. So that is what I'm doing. Just getting some bits together. I can't believe it's that time already, but it is my annual planning retreat today. So each year, just before the sort of Christmas shutdown, I take myself away for 3 days off grid on my own, book myself into a hotel room type thing in nature, where I'm sort of completely left alone with me, a ton of books with key things that I've took away from that year. So books I've usually read that year, or just generally great books that always bring ideas out. I take sticky notes, Sharpie pens, flip charts, and I just lock myself away in that room for a few days, and I'm literally just alone with my own thoughts. I'm thinking very big picture. I'm reviewing long-term vision. I'm looking at our annual goals, what we've done well this year, what we haven't done well, looking ahead to the future, thinking about where we need to improve, all the things we want to try and achieve next year. And I'm really reflecting on sort of life in general, but also the businesses and where we're trying to go. And then what I do from that by day 3 is I'm heading to sort of budgets and forecasts, and I'm trying to take all that big picture stuff, looking at strategy, where we've done well, what we haven't, where we're going, what's happening in the world, and how do we need to adapt. How's it looking with the economy, and how's that going to impact us? And then I'm taking all that and getting it into spreadsheets and more detailed plans. And then I'm really setting that sort of objectives. And then the next phase of that is the senior team have about a week and a bit after that, once I've done all my prep, all my thinking, got everything out in my plans, I then deliver that budget and those kind of the general feel of what we need to achieve as a business next year to move in against the 5-year plan. And then we take it as a senior team and we have a bit of an away trip where we're then again going one step further into the more granular detail from an operational point of view as to their respective areas. What are we going to need to do, change and implement within their respective, with the sales, with the operations, production, marketing? What are we going to need to do to achieve this big, heavy stuff that when you look at it in isolation, you think, how on earth are we going to grow by 3 million quid, 5 million quid this year? That you take my big picture stuff and then we work as individuals to really implement what are we going to change and what are we going to do and what's the sort of key result areas, the day-to-day metrics, the investments, the hires, what are we going to need to do differently, more of, less of, the same in the next 12 months in order to achieve this big stuff. So we hash that out on the second level of the tree, and then the third is we deliver it to the entire company in what we call our end of year conference. And that's when we go even deeper, when as individuals we get groups of people from our night shift, our day teams, sales, marketing, finance, all around round tables, and we do a bit of an interactive workshop with flip charts, and we look at the real depth of SWOT analysis by us. What do the team think we do well? What do the team think we need to do better at? All those sort of things. And so it starts here and it works its way along the organisation across all the departments. So everybody has their say and their bit of input in what we need to do. But it all is based on that big picture vision, which I kind of set in my away time. So yeah, it's a lot and it makes December very busy, but it's absolutely been instrumental in our growth because all of that depth planning and making sure we've thought through everything as detailed as possible means that we've got a blueprint, a map, a sat nav to follow for the next 12 months. And it does weave and it does change and it never quite goes to plan. Some things we overachieve on, some things we under. But the main thing is we have a plan. We're waking up every day of 2025 knowing what we're trying to achieve and where we're going, not just walking blindly and just guessing each month and trying to, go for what feels good, not necessarily working towards anything. So it's busy. I'm taking myself off. I'm going to settle into there. I'll try and give you a bit of a tour of the place when I get there. And that's what we're up to. Like I say, off grid, going to really get my head into brainstorming, brain dumping, get my head back into reading all the highlighted key points for some really good solid books that I've took some gems from that I refresh and remind myself of year on year. And really then get into some depth. By day 3, be onto spreadsheets and budgets and putting it into practice and seeing if what we need to achieve we can, and then that's all prepped for the management retreat in a couple of weeks after that, where we go one step deeper. So yeah, that is what we're doing. We have arrived. Hoping the sound is going to be okay because I don't have a microphone, so I'm back to the old days of self-vlogging on my iPhone because we don't have Sam here because I'm off grid now, or supposed to be anyway. But I wanted to just give you a little whistle-stop tour of what's happening. So yeah, just checked in, and as you can see, pretty beautiful, the surroundings. So it's the same place I came to last year, just because it worked perfectly. It was exactly what I'd envisaged. I found it last year, it worked perfectly, and we're back this year. It's not too far from the office, so I haven't wasted tons of time commuting, but when you're here, you forget, you are in the middle of nowhere, or at least it feels that way. And I'll give you a quick tour. So if I can I do that? No. So you can see just like the cabin that we're in, and you've just got sort of wilderness all around you. So it's just perfect. Just kind of wake up and you're surrounded by greenery. You can go for lots of long, nice walks. There's even an outside bath, which is just kind of, can have that as an ice bath, which is right up my street. But yeah, it's just kind of perfect in that respect. It's surrounded by trees, quiet, completely on your own, just plenty of thinking time, and just to be left alone. And then inside, you've got the, chairs just to sit, reflect, think, a really nice sofa area that you can just sort of sit and reflect on. Desk area, ticks all the boxes. There's a bathroom, wardrobe and everything, but you've just got this really sort of high ceiling, really just a nice, modern but quiet space where you can really sit and reflect and think. I've got all of my
sticky notes ready to go, Sharpie pens, fresh notebook, iPad, headphones, calculator, all that sort of stuff ready to get into spreadsheets, forecasts, plans, and really do some brain dump of just pulling out the stickies and whacking them up on the, last year I just whacked them up on the glass up there, and just really sort of work my way through planning all the goals, the vision, and reflecting on everything. So yeah, that is kind of how we're looking here. But yes, so I think that gives you a bit of a tour, a little bit of an update of what we're up to, but we're here now. So I think we're gonna settle in, unpack, and then get my head into some brainstorming, some reflecting. And that's what we're gonna be doing for the next couple of days, the next 48 hours, just really in depth. And whilst we're doing that, back at Totally Branded, we are going to go and check out what wicked promotional products we are producing in production. I'm going to leave you with that. Goodbye.
How's your week going, Michael?
It's been a very interesting week for us all, Sam. A few bits breaking down here or there, but things can only get better. For me, I've got a brand new machine today. It's very exciting. It quadruples our productivity, which is awesome. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but I'm very excited. It's going to be good. Yeah.
Just getting together some notes ahead of our weekly business review that we have as a management team. So I'm just prepping, having a look at our week-on-week performance. So we coined this from Amazon a few years ago, but we have what we call a weekly business review, where all of the sort of department heads come together as a senior leadership team, and we have a dashboard within Excel that we would have different reports on a week-on-week trailing trends on everything from website visitors to website conversion rate to wastage, outbound calls, inbound calls, response times, how quickly we're taking to send somebody a mock-up, how long we're taking to send them a quote, how long we're taking to deliver their order. Have all of that data in this week-on-week trend dashboard, and then we have a line graph that's showing all of the trends, and then as a management team we bring that, and each department head will take us through their deck of key metrics, and we go very granular and we look at those sort of real input metrics, the stuff we can control. So I really difficult on a week-to-week basis to really control, why have we had a really good week of sales or a really bad week? But what we can as individuals control is our response times, how much waste we're putting in the bin, how quickly we're answering the phone, how many outbound calls we're making, and it's really those controllable inputs that are going to ultimately at month end impact the output metric, being the sales and the net margin and the net profit. So we meet as religiously as we can every week to really drill into those measurements, and we are looking at whether we're up on last week, down on last week, and what our 6-week trend is, and then we're analysing and adding context to it and go, oh well, our absenteeism graph, which is a term I only learnt recently, basically means how many people are off. When that's very high, oh, shock horror, our response times are very low, and you can then plot that with the trends in conversion rate, and you can start to see what the real levers are that are going to make the difference in your business if you could just drill in and control that. And what that goes from is you can go from looking at the big picture of just the profit and loss at the end of the month and asking yourself, what the hell, what's going wrong, why is it changing so volatile from one month to the next? But when you drill into that real depth and you're looking at the tiny, very small controllable metrics, that can sometimes, therein lies the answer. So what I try and do is I have a look over all the data as a bit of a preview before, about 40 minutes before we sit down on a Monday. I'll dig into that and I'll make my notes and questions and things that I'm already a bit like, well, why is that doing that and why is that like that? And that will always steer the conversation. And at the beginning of that meeting, I will always sort of do a bit of opening comments, and I will say to the team, these are what I think is going well, this is what I think isn't as a business, this is where I'm worried, these are the things I'm worried about, these are the things I think we need to be on our A game about this week. and I just kind of share that, and that kind of sets the tone. And then we work our way around the room and we all share that data, really in depth, discuss it, look at the charts. Different people question it from different departments and different points of view, and then we come away with really understanding from the granular, minute details where the business is at and what we need to do this week to make ourselves better than last. So yeah, thought I'd share that because I think it's beneficial, and it's something I wish we'd done many years ago. We've only been doing it for about a year or so, but the impact in the business, you can feel it, is very good, and it means that we're not waiting to the end of the month to see a P&L to see whether we're doing well or not. There is always that question mark because you can control this, but we never really know our true gross and net margins until the P&L comes out. But this normally gives you a good insight as to how well we've done operationally, which will be a big telltale sign. So yeah, that is what I'm doing.
Right, so I'll do this in the exact same format, all bar a couple of bits that I would normally do for a normal supplier. That happens every 3 months. Obviously, I've got some year-to-date stats because we haven't done this before now. So basically, we'll start by looking at the data. So last financial year, obviously, this isn't going to be completely accurate because we only started using POs halfway through. But the spend last year was...
That was from September.
That's okay. So yeah, that's financial year from when we started using POs in September. This year, as of about an hour ago, we're at 1. So quite a significant jump. As of again an hour ago, year to date, not financial year, from 1st of January until today, we've put orders through the in-house production facility. Those have resulted in a ticket and percent error rate at the moment, so you can see how that sits against the top 10 really. But in my opinion, the idea of this is the same as with every supplier, but the idea of this is to try and get our own one lowest out of all of them because we've got the most control over it. But at the moment, obviously, it's sitting at the same level that it is. So to break it down, out of those tickets, which we'll delve into the quarter in a minute, but out of those tickets, of them have been caused by a consultant or a processor. This is obviously, so the way this works is the consultant or the processor, whoever's raising the ticket, will raise it based on the necessary pre-build. So really this obviously is the first one I've ever done, so it's not in depth enough, but what I will look to do in these reviews is now look at the last 3 months and look at how many of those have happened in the last 3 months, because it might be that we've had production errors, but only 2 of them have happened in the last 3 months, which means we've had improvements. So we'll just wait for this to load up, but it will show us what's happened in the last few months. While that loads up, I think, in my opinion, obviously we'll go through the survey in a minute for what everybody sees as our biggest challenges or things that we're doing well, but in my opinion, the biggest problem we have at the moment, which we need to solve as a 3, is when there's a machine breakdown or sickness or whatever. We're so vulnerable. Like now, I've emailed you about the DTF. We now, yesterday, by some miracle, I managed to salvage all of them without a single loss, and actually with some profit in them, by begging and pleading with the suppliers to help us. But we need up to now, if DTG went down, there's nothing. We've got no one in place for transfer, we've got no one in place for anything. So now if we get his stuff on there straight away, issue, no problem. Embroidery is so easy, because we just go, thank you. The smart tip's just gone down, we've got no one. It's our biggest weakness.
We are wrapping up another week. It's been a good week, one of my favourite sorts of weeks, sort of in the clouds thinking, as I like to call it, really planning, looking at next year. I've gone through a mixture of emotions over the last few days when I've been sort of locked into forecasts and budgets. The big thing that was prevailing on my mind was just how difficult it is going to be next year with the new, the new taxes, the new costs, and just the service, everything, and the way it's just becoming so difficult to run a business and turn a profit. But I've flipped out of that mindset and I've come out and I feel hungry, optimistic, and I know we've got such an amazing team that we can achieve what we need to achieve to fight against these taxes and burdens that are being constantly pushed upon us. So I feel passionate that we can do it, and I'm feeling excited. So yeah, it's been good. It's been a good week. Lots going on. Just had a really encouraging meeting with the bank about some of our 3-year plans, the funding we're going to need to help us along the way. getting that buy-in, sharing that, discussing strategies, getting different people's opinions, which is a big thing I think more people need to do, is ask other people's opinions, get people to feedback and critique your understanding, and then take all of those opinions and take your gut feel and make your own firm decision. But at least you're going into it with your eyes wide open with lots of different perspective. So yeah, it's been a busy week. Thank you for being here. Until next time, goodbye.